begin our session. The Kerala Startup Mission is the nodal agency of the Government of Kerala for promoting entrepreneurship in the state. And it was started in 2006 with the goal to promote technology-based entrepreneurship activities and to create the infrastructure and ecosystem that required to support high-end technology-based startup business. Now moving to our event, Women Startup Summit 3.0. This is our gathering of the third edition, and also I'm very happy to share that we have successfully completed 2 energetic editions last 2 years. Our theme is Rise to Equal, and the upcoming events are strategic brand management, financial resilience, and intellectual property rights. Now moving to today's session, Legalities for Startups, that taken by Honorable Advocate Bindu Shankar Pillai. She has 22 years of experience in various fields and roles as a corporate legal management consultant, IP attorney covering IP registration and management, legal advisor involving in legal contracting, rookie regulations, automation, robotic agreements, courtroom practice covering both criminal and civil laws. And also, she believed that keeping herself updated with the dynamic environment is her strength and also value that he gave to her clients. She is also experienced as a corporate legal consultant in intellectual property attorney, company or partnership firm, society, trust registration, legal advisor, management consultant, advocacy, venture management, drafting, bidding and agreements, vetting legal documents, property document verification, barcode registration and management. She is also experienced in Alliance former assistant manager level contracting team at Trivandrum. And also she is a legal advisor practiced in NIMS Medicity. Practice law at district court, interacting with the clients to know their issues, draft legal documents, suits, contracts, and verify legal documents and appear in various courts on behalf of their clients. So I believe that her words will be a great asset for our participants. So I'm welcoming Dr. Advocate Bindu Shankar Pillai, ma'am, to the session, and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Hima, for that nice words. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, I am not able to see the participants, so I think how many are there, Hima?
Now 14 are them, ma'am. Regularly they are joined. Gradually they will join.
Okay, fine, that's fine. Because I am not able to see them. That's fine. I think it is hidden. Okay. Hi all. Good morning. And in a Sunday morning, I think it is the best time we can hear about legalities about entrepreneurship, because all the other days we are busy making money or thinking about making money from our business and marketing. So on a Sunday morning, we can take a break and think about how to shape our organization and to become a fruitful entrepreneur. So I'll depend on some slides here so that we will be engaged. If you have any doubts in between, I think we will park it and we'll take it in an interactive session at the end. So if we have enough and more time, I think it is 2.5 hours. So if you get bored, just stop me and tell me that you are bored, so that we can change our topic or say something more interesting. But till 2.5 hours, I'm not going to leave you. Okay. So I'm just sharing my slides. Okay, Hima has given a very good introduction about myself. And I'll also say a few words about my organization, Second Innings. Why second innings? That is a question we always face. It is because people start their business with a big dream. They will work for it. They will make their business run. But after a point in time, they will feel, okay, we need legal also or accounting also, and all the compliances along with it. That is when they are going to start their business, or because all the entrepreneurs are going to start their business in a more structured way. That is why that is their second innings. And other part of it is we are all professionals who were all doing their jobs, and now we have come back to the profession. I was actually practicing, then for some time I went to work. So after that, I am back to practice. So it is again a second innings for us also. We are four professionals. My lawyer is there, CMA is there, and CA is there, and a CS is there. So we can provide end-to-end solutions for all the organizations or the clients who approach us. That is me. And our services include legal drafting, accounting for you, company registrations, organization decisions, CEO management, your trademark or patent registration, all these things. So that is a few words about me, and we are stationed at Trivandrum. I think that is it. So Hima will be sharing my number to you. If you have any doubts regarding this, you can contact me later. So let us go start our session about basic legal consideration for a startup. This is very, very, very important because I'm regularly interacting with the Startup Mission and the startups or people who are aspiring startups. And I understand that there is a wide gap between their understanding and their aspirations. So to become fruitful, become a fruitful entrepreneur, or to be successful in the field, there is actually a 360-degree information and knowledge needed. And the first thing you need to decide is who should be your partners. Of course, you will have a dream. You may have conceived it, it will be like your baby. Who are you are going to be your partners? Because many a time, this is the major area which causes a problem. Why? Because what happens when you have an idea, what will you do? You will immediately speak to your colleague or to a schoolmate or to a college mate, right? Then they will have certain other ideas, and you think you are in the same wavelength. You will agree to start an organization. But moving forward, you will find there is some discrepancies or there are some mismatches between you and your partners. And there starts the split. And there will be the end of the startups. It is often said 100% startups which starts, among that only 10% survive and 1% become successful. This is what we often hear. Why? Because 50% of that is because of the wrong choosing of partners. Everyone does this mistake. So how to choose your partners? First criteria is, do they share your dream? Am I audible? Am I audible, Hima?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
And my slide is also visible, right?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Okay. Do your partner understand the concept of delayed gratification? Or he or she is still thinking about the daily salaried or the employee, having the employee mentality, that is every month and they will be having money with them. Because for a startup, initially you will be pumping in the money and there will be no return. And when the return comes in, that will only be peanuts. So your partner should not get frustrated. They should understand the principle of delayed gratification. And there is another, whether your partner have the complementary skill set. Are you a marketing person who has conceived that idea? And you are in the software, you are planning to have a software business. Is your partner a developer, or do he understand coding? Whether he brings in that particular any kind of skill set which is adding up to your startup, or do he have the managerial skill, whatever. Just think whether it is good for you or not, and whether he is ready to invest. It may be investment in terms of money, investment in terms of experience, investment in terms of time, whatever. How well he can invest. Otherwise, if only one person is pumping in the money and one person is spending all the time, and the other person is just, and for name's sake, it will create frustration in the long run. Then ready to take the challenge. Is that your partner ready to take a challenge? Of course, starting a business means challenge, right? You are just moving out of your convenience or your known environment. So definitely there will be a challenge. Will that partner stand with you? And are you comfortable with that partner? That is the most important thing, I think. We need to take care of. Are you comfortable, or from the day one, are you going on an adjustment? Only because he has put in some money, are you making him his partner? Only because he knows something about the business, are you making him a partner? If only that is the fact, think twice, thrice, or 100 times. Think about it. And once you have decided on the partners, make sure you have a founders agreement in place. What is founders agreement? That is, at first, when you decide on a partner, what will be the things you will discuss with the partner? One thing is how much money you will bring in, what will be your roles and responsibilities, or what will you do for the startup? Where will we start the startup, and what will be our startup? These will be the things, 4 things you will be discussing. But there are a lot more things that need to be discussed, which will come in the way, which you may not have discussed in priority or previously before you start the startups. So going forward, when these things comes up, there will be dispute. So to avoid that, think far ahead. What can be the challenges? What can be the risk? Or what will be the things you will be forced to take care of while you are running a startup? Think about that and have all those things written down. It should include who all are the partners, what kind of organization you are going to make, what will be the purpose of that organization, what will be the roles and responsibilities of each partner, how much money he will make, what will be the profit sharing, how can one exit? That is also most important. What can one exit from that organization? What will be the stake of the organization after that person exit? How can you add one more person to that organization? How will you protect your intellectual property rights, your trademark, your patent, whatever you both have created or you three have created? How will you protect it? What will be the stake of the person who is exiting from this? All these things are very important, and all these things has to be come in the founders agreement. And one more good thing is when people start a startup, their first intention is to have investment, right? Mostly it is like that. There are only very few people who say no, we don't want investment. But many people say if there is a funding or if there is an investment, it will be good. And this founders agreement is one of the checklists in the due diligence criteria of your investors. So make sure you have a very robust and strong founders agreement. Then coming to this, I have covered what all things are you need in the founders agreement. This I have covered. And the next thing is what kind of organization you need to have. There are multiple kinds of organization. When I speak to startups, what they say is we want to start an LLP or a private limited company. That is the one thing they universally that is what they say. So I thought I will share with you the type of organizations which is available where you can start a startup and also register with DPIIB, that is our Indian Startup Mission. Indian Startup. So let us see what all are the types of organization. The first one is a sole proprietorship. This one you cannot register with the startup because this is one person starting a business. He is just testing the market, or he want to do everything on his own or her own. When I say this, that includes her also. I know that this is a women meet, but it comes like this. Okay. So the sole proprietor is one person starting the business for themselves, or that person will be the sole owner. There is no such registration needed. Here, the person can have, the owner can have an Udyam registration or their trademark trade registration. All these things can be there. Or that if that person is running a restaurant, he can have the FSSAI registration. All these things can be there. But if the person is joining up with one more person, having a partner, then that will be called a partnership firm. From here on, you will have a different, I don't say partnership firm is a different entity from the partners, but still we can say there will be a unique name for this partnership firm, and you can have a registration for this. There will be a unique registration number for this, and it will be registered under the registrar of partnership. And under that number, you can take a PAN card in the name of the partnership firm. With that PAN card, you can take a current account also. So we can say in sense, not legally, but in sense, we have a different entity from the individual persons. But one problem with this partnership firm is that there is unlimited liability against the partnership. That means if this partnership firm incurs some debts, that will fall back on the partners and their personal assets. That is the problem with the partnership firm. And one more problem is the name of this partnership firm is not secure. You may have to take another trademark registration to secure your name under the partnership firm. That this is the only two problems with a partnership firm. Other than that, there are a lot of convenience with this partnership. What that is, you will have ease of business. You will not have any compliances with doing this. Only thing is you need to have filed the income tax at the end of the year, accounting period. That is all. Otherwise, there is no hassles like any other organizations. Running a partnership firm is comparatively very easy when you compare to an LLP or a private limited company. So let us see. And if a person wants to bring in money to the partnership firm also, that is also very easy. So the next organization is one-person company. Previously, we spoke about sole proprietorship. If that person wants a registered organization, that person can register with the MCA or ROC, Registrar of Companies, as a one-person company, where this person will be the sole shareholder of the company. He can have multiple directors, but this person will be having will be the sole shareholder of the company. Again, I will come to the compliances after say all those companies which are registered under ROC, that is Registrar of Companies, which is with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The next organization is the Limited Liability Partnership, the one which we call LLPs. That is this partnership in new form, registered under Registrar of Companies. There will be, there can be two partners, and these partners can designate two designated partners as well. Then all this other working will be like the partnership firm. Only difference is your name will be secured, and you will not have incur unlimited liability. You will incur only limited liability. Limited liability means when you share your when you spend some money or invest some capital investment in this partnership, that is LLP, you will only be liable to that particular amount of money. That is called limited liability. Because if I am running a LLP and I am investing 1 lakh rupees, I am promising to invest 1 lakh rupees, then my liability will be restricted to that particular 1 lakh rupees, nothing more, nothing less. That is limited liability. And one drawback is no one can bring in, no one other than the partners can bring in money to limited liability partnership. Then comes our private limited company. We have all heard about this. We know what it is. There minimum there need to be 2 shareholders or 2 directors. This is the usual company structure we have. Here, it has got its own status. When we say that we are running a private limited company, definitely we are looked up Dutch. It is very good, but the problem with the private limited company is the challenge is there are a lot of compliances attached to it. And if a person who is not practiced in business or who do not have an experience in the business, or he is just out of his college and testing the market, and if he is not aware about the prospects of his business, the compliances attached to private limited company can be a huge challenge. That is why many start a company and then drop it. Even if to drop a company, it means expense. Either somewhere around 25 to 30,000 or 35,000 rupees you will have to spend to maintain a private limited company. So to the people who come to me asking what kind of an organization we need to have, we ask a series of questions to find out what kind of an organization suit them. That is very, very, very important for an organization to identify the suitable organization for them. Many a time what happens is people come to us and say, we want to start a private limited company. When we ask, why do you want to have a private limited company? That is the first question we always ask. Why do you want to have a private limited company or an LLC? Then I think some 80% of people answer like this. My friend has a private limited company. My friend started a private limited company. Or my uncle said the private limited company is good for me. Or someone else said this LLP is good. They are not thinking from their shoes. So each entrepreneur has to think from their shoes and think or analyze the circumstance to find out which organization is good. I'll say if a person who need to start a private limited company starts a partnership firm, gone, his business is gone. Saying if a person need to start only a private partnership firm and he starts a private limited company, again it is gone because your foundation is not correct. So this is the most important step you need to take after you decide on your partner. Then you have certain kinds of registrations and licenses. According to your industry, I'm not going to go in detail on each because it depends on the business you are in and the organization you select. You need to understand that there are certain formalities connected with each organization and also with each business. For example, if you are in a restaurant business, you need to have FSSAI registration. If you are in e-commerce, definitely you need to have GST. When I say GST, you need to understand this also, that every business do not need GST in the very beginning. There are certain threshold and certain criteria which is already there in place in the law itself. That is, if you are in the service industry, your turnover, if only your turnover reaches 20 lakh rupees, 20 lakh, then only you need to take GST. And if you are in goods business, then your turnover, if your turnover is 40 lakhs, then only you need to take GST. But there may be circumstances where you need to take GST before also. That is when you start doing business of others, or if your customers say, if only you have GST, we will do business with you. All these things depends on your business to business. But you have to analyze what all kinds of registrations and licenses you need to have and take care. Once you take these kinds of registrations, especially GST, PF and ESI, once you take this, always be careful that you follow it because there are penalties attached to it. So don't make notices come to you. Don't make penalties come to you because you took these kind of registrations. And with regard to licenses and registration, ensure that you always keep it renewed. That is also very important. That is also an entrepreneur has to take care of. Now, this is another most important thing an entrepreneur has to understand. That is about his patent, trademark, and copyright. That is his intellectual property. What is intellectual property basically? Something which comes out of your head is your intellectual property. And if that which is coming out of your head can generate money, that is protected by law. That is the difference. So there are different kinds of intellectual properties like patent, trademark, copyright, design registration, geographical indications, all these things are there. But people always get confused. What is patent? What is trademark? Do my logo need to be patented? Do my soft code need to be trademark? All these kinds of jumbled questions comes to me. So let us see a bit detail. What is this? And what is the legalities attached to it? So as I said, patent is there, trademark is there, and copyright is there. That is the three major things which always comes to which is relevant to a startup. And there is also the design registration, which I have not mentioned here. If you are into designing products like jewelry, shoes, various forms of your goods, all these things comes under design registration. But I have not seen that common among startups. But if any one of you are into such products, we can take it up separately. You can call me. So let us speak about the generic things. Before going into detail, let us see what all are the common mistakes people make while protecting or not protecting their intellectual property. In case of patent, the first step will be, if they have an innovative idea which is attached to a device. Why I am saying you this? Patent is awarded in India only to ideas which has got a device in it, only to an innovation which has a device in it. Software alone will not be patented. So if you have a device in your idea and in your innovation, that has to be registered first before making it public. What do people do? Once they have this innovation, once the writing is complete, they will post it in their social media or present it before some research or present it for some exhibition or like some pitch sessions. They will present it. So what they are doing is they are actually devoiding themselves. They are actually restraining themselves from grant of patent. Once published, even by you, it cannot be patented. So before publishing it anywhere, or even telling your partners or I would say partners, I said third parties, or anybody, make sure at least provisional filing of the patent is made. There are two types of filings. First, when you have this idea and the prototype is not ready, but you know where it is going, you can file a provisional filing. After provisional filing, you will get 12 months time to file the complete specification. By that time, you can create the prototype and you can take the pictures and you can file all these things. Before filing the provisional filing, please kindly do not publish your products. That is very important, or your innovation. That is very important. Then common mistake about trademark. Trademark is related to your logo, your name, your product shape, maybe smell, your three-dimensional figures, anything which is related to your trade is your trademark. The common mistake people make is they only check Google and then they go directly to GoDaddy to see whether the www.com is available. If that is available, they will take the name, they make a logo, they will start a website, they will start their business. But later only, when they think about trademark only, they will realize this name is already taken and is registered in trademark. Then that will attract a lot of cost to rectify the defect. Because till then, if we are banned from using that mark by someone else, the marketing cost which you have put in the market will go waste. So don't let that happen. Immediately check the trademark registry before selecting a name, or approach people like us to find out whether the trademark is registerable or not. If you get a good mark, if you find that your mark is not similar, then you can file it and register it and make it yourself. There are three kinds of restrictions mainly with regard to trademark: that your mark should not be similar in terms of visually, verbally, or phonetically to any other marks. When we say any other mark in the same class, or to any mark which is commonly known or well-known mark. Because I cannot start a consultancy firm saying McDonald's, because it is a well-known mark. Even if in the consultancy firm, McDonald's is not there in the consulting firm. That class itself, McDonald's is not there. But still, I cannot start a McDonald's consultancy firm because it will be deceiving people. That is very, very, very important. And when you make logo also, usual tendency is to go and check free logos from Google. Do not do that because Google will show the same logo to crores of people. So the chances of similarity are very, very, very high. And we will invite penalties and loss of business, closing down, all these things. Then comes copyright. Copyright is one thing which we need not register. It is not compulsory that you need to register copyright. Just like patent or trademark, it need not be registered. You can register, that is your choice, but you need not register. So to protect your algorithms, gamings, or gaming software, or your website URL, all these things you can use copyright. There is another method to protect it other than register. And all your literary works can come under copyright. For example, there are many edutech organizations coming up. They will be having contents. They will be unique. Many of them will be unique contents. Sometimes it so happens also that they will be having faculties. They may put copy-pasted item to their website, the entrepreneur's website, which will incur conflict of interest by a third party and which will lead to litigations. All these things will come. So be very careful with your intellectual property because your intellectual property is directly related to your brand promotion. It is very, very important and it has got the direct connection with your goodwill. And intellectual property rights, if it is registered, it is a safeguard for your business. Because, for example, suppose you have your startup is called XYZ, for example, and you are not registering it. Say maybe in 1 year you get a takeoff and you are going heights with your business. And seeing your success, there can be someone else who will be starting his business in the same line, which will be known as XYU. See the similarity. One is XYZ, the other one is XYU. The marketing cost you are putting in will be used by that other person. Then the litigations will be happening. But if you are registered, you can check that person initially itself. All these things happens in the real world. Only when we come to it, we will know about it. Then it will save your marketing cost. As I said, if you check that you are not similar, the name is not similar to anyone else, and if you have the uniqueness, it will save a lot of marketing cost. It is a safety belt also. Suppose something goes wrong, you want to go out of this business, you want to walk away from your business, then your intellectual property registration will fall as a will play as a safety belt. It will give it will be a better negotiation tool for you to anyone who is going to buy your business, who is going to invest in your business, or you can sell it to your third party, just like as you had a property. It is a virtual asset, your business, and you. So handle very fragilely your intellectual property. It is very, very important to you. Don't go by Shakespeare, who said, what is it in a name? There is everything in a name. That is in the new business world. And I just want to show the importance of IP. I just wanted to share some stories with you. I think you are able to see the...
Ma'am, there is 2 questions in the chat box.
Okay.
About the intellectual property. It's asked about Dr. Umid Salim. Having said about the intellectual property, how can we value the intangible asset of the company and what mechanism or method you can suggest or adopt in this matter?
Okay, let us park that question because it needs explanation. Can we take it up after the session? There are 2-3 more slides.
Sure, ma'am, sure.
Yeah. So coming to this IP, the first figure, we all have seen this, the Pepsi Coca-Cola opening lid, right? In that, the Pepsi actually wanted to register this. But when they said a 19-year-old boy had already registered this concept, this type of opening, and it is said that for the rest of the period, some 20 years or more, Pepsi was paying royalty to this person. That is, every time a person opens a cup, that money falls in that person's cup. And the other one in the blue is the fidget spinner. We all have seen this, right? The fidget spinner. The person who invented it actually had filed for patent. But patent, before getting awarded, it needs to be renewed every 3 years. So by 3 years, his patent was not awarded. It was still under consideration. So this person thought, why I need to renew it? Let it go. And he left that and he didn't renew it. So it became in the open market. Now we know every household has at least 4 or 5 fidget spinners. Think about the income or money he would have been made. And the last picture is about Puma and Poodle. That is where I was saying about the similarities. This was a litigation which went on for a long time between Puma and Poodle, and Puma won because of the similarity. Even though we say it is Puma and it is Poodle, but the picture of that animals on the logo, and also the phonetic pronunciation, or also the phonetical presentation of that words are too similar. So God didn't allow Poodle to continue. So all these things are there. And the latest case is with the BMW and BMW. BMW was an electric scooter in Delhi. So our automotive giant BMW opposed the using of the BMW because people will get confused about BMW and BMW. People will be thinking, oh, BMW has come up with an electric scooter. Let us buy it. But actually they will be deceiving because BMW has nothing to do with it. So all these things are there. So we need to be very careful. And the other thing, the next important thing is, or equally important thing I would say about an organization is his accounting. That is his nervous system, I would say. If that or the backbone and his nervous system. If the or if a human being do not have a backbone, what will be the condition you can imagine? So you need to have your book of accounts perfect, and all your transactions should be having through current account. By Google Pay and all, our normal tendency is to pass the money from our personal account through Google Pay, but or Paytm or the things like that. I'm just saying Google Pay or Paytm because that is handy. That is why I'm saying it, and nothing for or against them. But always do the transaction from your current account because that shows your transaction details and the strength of your organization. And you need to have income tax filing, even if you are at a loss, because there may be a possibility that when you make profit in future, you can adjust the previous loss file, provided you have filed it at time. And then your ROC filing. This is also very important. People register private limited company, 1% company, LLP, and they forget completely about ROC. They may file income tax, but the filed income tax has to be again refiled with the ROC. People forget this. They have to do the KYC. They won't do that. So after a period in time, the company will be in default. Whatever profit you make, you will be remitting it with the government as in the form of fines and penalties. And when an investor comes in, he will be first looking into these things: your book of accounts, your current account, your income tax file, and ROC. So you will be there, you will look bad in front of an investor. So if you are looking for an investment, or if you are looking for a successful business, always be ready with all these things. And then your due diligence criteria. This is also very, very, very important. An investor will be looking at you in these vitals, just like doctors will look at your vital signs. This is the vital signs of a business. How robust your accounts are, how good, how punctual your compliances are, how prompt you are in your intellectual property registrations, and what is the relationship between your partners, between the partners and the directors. If you are a husband and wife, if you are brother and sister, father and son, there can be a problem with the investors. And of late, we are seeing it. But if you have a founders agreement and can convince your investor that even though we are related or blood related or some other way, even if we are related, we mean business. If we can convince it, that will be very good. So from the very beginning, make such kind of evidences to show that the partners and the directors are having very good relationship, but not blood relationships. Or even if it is blood relationship, they are having a business relationship as well. Then your legal agreements, very, very, very important. Many a time, this is the area where companies are least bothered about. If a client comes in with big money or a big project, they will forget everything, go behind that, there won't be any legal agreement. Once a dispute comes in only, they will check for an agreement. And people do have mistake or misunderstanding about MOU and that is Memorandum of Understanding and Agreement. See, MOU is not a legally viable document. It cannot be legally enforced. You need to have a proper agreement. Then the question will be coming, what is an agreement? Agreement should be drafted in a 200 rupee stamp paper. It should have the names and address, proper detailed address about the parties involved, if it is an individual and their ID card numbers, if it is a company or an organization, their registration number, if it is an organization, who is representing that organization, all these things need to be there, and the objectives need to be there, why they are entering into this agreement, the terms and conditions, the term of the agreement, how long are the partners intending to take this agreement, and what is the consideration, that is the payment part or something which we will be doing as per this agreement. All these things need to be there, and most importantly, proper signature has to be there, and proper date and place of enforcement of this agreement has to be there, because all these things only make a proper agreement. Otherwise, in a court of law, this will not stand. And nowadays, other than civil court, previously, these kind of business transactions were handled by the civil courts. But now, commercial courts have come up. It is a new act which has come in, that is Commercial Act, to make up speedy disposals of commercial disputes, even check cases or those which were coming, which originated from bouncing of a check and all. Now it has come under the Commercial Court Act. So it is very speedily acting. It has got a time frame, which is time bound. So to enforce our documents or our rights before a court of law, we need our documents properly. And I would say to every startup who come to me, please do read before you sign. Read and understand what you are signing. Very, very, very important. See, one of my clients, he came to me after everything went wrong. It so happened was his so-called partner or the joint, they were planning to have a joint venture. I thought I will share this story with you. Both were planning to have a joint venture. This person, one person was a startup, and I will refer him as a startup, and the other person was a tenured businessman. He knew the in and out of it. This startup was a promising startup. So he was running around making business. He went to Bangalore, he went to Gujarat, he went to Haryana to have business. And this tenured person was sitting here. He said, I will make all the agreements ready, just come and sign. That was what he said. Then the startup person said, okay, I will have my manager see your agreement. Once he approves, I will sign. He said, fine, no problem. And from Bangalore, he flew down to Trivandrum to sign the document. And in the evening flight, he had to go back also. There were some 20-30 people gathered to witness the signature, signing of that joint venture. It was made as a small function. There was cakes there, food ready, everything was ready. And when the startup person who just came half an hour before signing to Trivandrum. Before signing, he just asked his manager whether he has seen the document or not. Then the manager said, no, it was not given to me. Now he is in a dilemma whether to sign or not, because the whole setup is there. When they are saying, no, I will not sign this document, he didn't feel like doing that, because other person is a tenured business having reputation, and there are 30 people. You can imagine the scenario. There is cake there, the food is ready. Then without any thinking, or he had this dilemma, but he signed the document. Now that matter, he is in the civil courts fighting for the last 1.5 years, because there were all such terms which were not acceptable by the staff. So these kind of things will happen. So please do read your agreement before you sign it. How silly it may feel, just read and understand. If there is any changes you need to make it, then only sign. That is very, very important. And then the another due diligence criteria which the organized investors will be looking at you is your customers. If you are an application, how many downloads you have, how many customers you have, how much money you have made from this, all these things will become under due diligence. Then you can have a DPIIT registration for Startup Mission, and always remember to have a Kerala Startup Mission unique ID also with startup registration. So I think I have come to the end of the presentation. So for an entrepreneur, these things are needed. It's knowledge, investment, information, network, prudence, willpower, and discipline. This is the mantra of an entrepreneur, I think. So know the goal and work towards this. That should be there. Every woman has got a Wonder Woman in her. So all the best for you. Do the business and be successful in your business with prompt and care. So I think we'll go for that in an interactive session. I'll stop share. So this is my phone number and my email ID. You can note it down. If you have any doubts, you can contact me. If I don't pick the call, don't worry. Just send me a message with your name, phone number, and your doubt. I will definitely respond to you. If I am in court, I will not be able to, or in any other meeting, I will not be able to attend the calls, but definitely I will respond.
Dear participants, now the session is open for Q&A. You can put in the chat box.
Okay, the first question is, Hima, can you just read it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
How can we value the intangible asset of the company, and what mechanism whether you can suggest or adopt on it? Okay, as it is an intangible asset, there is no market value associated with it, just like a property. So it will be like, suppose if you have found out a quick medicine for corona. Okay, now the market will be booming for it. The acceptability in the market will be the criteria where, or how much money you can make from that intellectual property or that patent. I'm saying patent. From that patent will be the value of that intellectual property. In the case of trademark, it will be like, see, if V-Guard is in the market for sale. You know that everyone knows about V-Guard. It has got a good will. It has got a reputation. It has got the turnover associated, huge turnover associated with that name itself. So that will be the value. There we will have to show how acceptable our product or our trademark or our patent is in the market, or the copyright is in the market, and how we could sell it, how much money we have generated from that, or what is the potential of generating money. Even if we have not generated money from that, what is the potential of generating money from that? So all these things are there. That is how we assess the intellectual property rights. Hope I am clear. And the next question is where to check trademark availability. If I say, will you be able to note it down, or can I type it here? the site name is ipindia.gov.in. ipindia.gov.in. IP for intellectual property. ipindia.gov.in. When you go into the site, there will be a tab called trademarks. Put your mouse on that, then you will see a drop down. There you will see related links. Related links. In that related links, you can search, look for your classes. And also, once you know the classes, you go to the public search and put your classification there. And the first 3 letters of the name which you want to register in that. Don't put the full name there because it will not get you the good result. Always put first 3. You can check with Wordmark or with Phonetic. Either way you can check. Any doubt, please contact. Then what is the question? We launch a project to build a worldwide software infrastructure platform for real-time healthcare. SIPRH, applicable inclusivity of human coronavirus, harmful mutants and lineage control program to WHO. For that, we invite sub-projects to migrate data from paper medical records to structured digital data using AWS Textract. For this, initially we proposed collecting data from 9 healthcare centers, hospital, clinic, nursing homes, primary health centers around Technopark Trivandrum to establish a pilot unit for the main project. We shall provide consultancy for the required structured data to pilot DCC node of the main project for the normal fee. Interested may contact. Okay, sorry, that was not a question. Sorry. I thought that's a question.
Ma'am, there is another question from Pramod.
Okay.
Or all the points or the checklist considered for the valuation of the startup?
Depends. It depends on the person who are evaluating. I have given a framework. You mean investment, right? Investors, by investors. Definitely your accounts, your intellectual property, your legal agreements, your customer base. That is the amount of money you made from the customers, or the number of customers, or the number of downloads, your market acceptability, all these things, your goodwill, who are you basically, what is your experience, what is your relationship with your partners, all these things. All these things will be a general criteria. And if that particular investor is looking for a separate thing, there can be other things also he will be checking.
There is another question from Dr. Umi Salim. Can you handle a PPP framework contract for a government entity?
What do you mean by PPP? Usually with this short forms, the understanding will be entirely different.
Ma'am, he means
private partnership.
Yes, ma'am. Public-private partnership.
I think he intends to have a joint venture, especially with government. What we do is, so there will be service agreements, or there can be, okay, CIL airport, okay, like that. Okay, fine. Usually when government comes in, they will give us a draft and we can only amend that. That is the usual criteria, usual procedure they do. And it will be like a joint venture project. That is what CIL airport had. And it is 2 organizations coming together. That can happen, that we can. Any other questions? there any questions in the Q&A?
No, ma'am. It's all the same, ma'am.
Dr. Jasmine has said a hi. Hi, Jasmine. Okay, what kind of an organization is it? Private limited. It's not private limited firm, it's a private limited company. Firm comes with only partnership. See, all entrepreneurs has to have this idea about what the types of organizations, because when you deal with, if you are a private limited company or if you are a partnership company, when you deal with other partnerships or other sole proprietors, all these things, the deal you make with them are different. The need or the legalities with them are different. So you should also know what kind of organizations you are. Please unmute and talk. No problem.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, ma'am, I'm from biotechnology background, and my partner, only two partners are there. I mean, two members are there in the company. The other person is is a chemical stockist, whom I know personally for last few years. Okay, and here that verbal agreement was he will deal with all those I mean registration, all those things, and marketing side and all those things, like administration of the company and all. I have to take care of the lab part only. Okay, so after hearing your session, I am not sure that there was a founder agreement. I haven't signed anything like that. Okay, he was connecting with a company secretary, and he gave some documents, and there was nothing written about this founders agreement or anything like that. So it's already started, and can we still we have a chance to speak about this founders agreement, and we need to write that? Because after starting, as you said, initially it was compatible, and I'm finding it difficult that all these roles defined are not clear, that majority of the work come to my side, even the marketing part and the administration. So I feel like I have to do the majority of the thing, and the other party is just providing the space. I mean, if I have to give rent, if I'm going to some other place, so I have such feeling. So I'm confused. I didn't talk to him, but I feel I had to I mean, I'm not aware of all these things, but when I heard about you, because this GST registration and all, he asked me to do, so I did it through Vakil Search. So they registered it for us, and they are filing it now. I mean, and I think so many certifications are yet to be finished. They haven't. They are not aware of it, and I'm not aware of it. So somehow I get some point, and I ask, okay, do we have this thing from I mean local panchayat or something to start a lab? So they are saying that, okay, no, we will start it, so we can do that. So I was shocked to hear that, because if something comes, the question will come to me. So
I understood. Yeah.
can we do all this again? I mean, is it late to do all these things? That's why.
Anytime you can start. What happens is, if the relationship is a bit strained, it will be difficult to make it back to a writing terms.
Yes.
That is the problem. But we can, if it is not that much strained, we can talk about it. We can decide on that and make it an agreement and move ahead with the. Every day is a new leaf, right? Every day is a new day. So we can make a new arrangement and start a draft a founders agreement and go accordingly. There you will be discussing many things.
Okay. So that we should do in the presence of a legal person, right? Company secretary or
It's
somebody.
always
Because,
good to do that. Always
yes,
good
because
to do. Because
otherwise it will go to a personal kind of thing. I mean,
correct. So it is always good to have a legal person with it to do that, so that the terms are right and you discuss the correct points also. We have to ensure that you discuss the correct points also.
okay.
Otherwise,
Ma'am,
it would be
your
like
firm
a
is
fault
doing
finding
such kind of
exercise.
service, right?
Sorry, yeah, we do.
Yeah. So for that, I mean, your place is Trivandrum and I'm from Kochi. So
No, no issues,
can we
sir.
do it online also? Like,
Yeah, no problem. We can come connect on a Zoom meeting with both of you. Then we can find out where you stand now.
okay.
Amicably, we can. No problem.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, I will contact you in that case, and we will fix a meeting then.
Sure.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dear participants, I have disabled the unmute button. You can unmute and talk. For any queries, you can directly unmute and talk to her.
I think there is no more questions, Hima. So can we?
Yes, ma'am. There is no more questions.
Yeah, I thought the interaction will be more. That's why I reduced the slide for presentation. I like to interact with you. So
Yes, ma'am. So we are going to wind up our session. For vote of thanks, I'm inviting Agra.
So very good morning to all. So I feel very happy and privileged to invite and propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Kerala Startup Mission to a versatile personality. So on the end of the fourth day of a knowledge session on intellectual property rights, you all might have gathered an information about what are the legalities of starting a business and what are the things that has to be noted down to comply with before you start an entity. So, well, Bindu ma'am had given a clear picture about the property rights. My heartfelt thanks to Bindu ma'am for sharing her knowledge and experience and imparting your valuable time to deliver an informative session for our participants. So last but not least, I thank you each and every participant for making the session very interactive. Hope would have gathered some takeaways from the words of Bindu ma'am. Once again, I thank you all for your attention. Thank you so much, ma'am, for attending.
thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.